Welcome to the Socials of 94.3 Radio 1. I'm your host Bharat, and today we are unraveling another favorite movie of mine in this episode of Binge Watch. And I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest face-off movies that has happened in the comic book history. I'm of course talking about Captain America Civil War, aka Captain America 3, aka Avengers 2.5, aka Iron Man 4, if I may. So let's go!
You gonna feel that? You gonna feel that? You gonna feel that? You gonna.
So this movie is of course directed by the Russo brothers, Anthony Russo and Joe Russo. This is their second Captain America movie. They went on to direct Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame soon after this, and I really love this movie because I was a big fan of Captain America Winter Soldier that they directed in 2014, and this was a follow-up to that. It was really critically acclaimed, and this was soon after Avengers Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie, and before Avengers Infinity War. So there was a lot of establishing to do. This was, mind you, the first time that we had Spider-Man in the MCU. You had Tom Holland's character gracing the red and blue costume for the first time, and a face-off between two stalwarts of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You had Tony Stark versus Steve Rogers, Captain America, Iron Man versus Captain America. You also had Chadwick Boseman, the late Chadwick Boseman, RIP, aka Black Panther, playing his character for the first time. So there were a lot of firsts, and basically the superhero teams divided into two. This was also in the year that we had Batman versus Superman coming. So this was Marvel's answer to a face-off movie between two big superheroes. Of course, it was an incredible movie, broke a lot of records, and was really critically acclaimed, and people just lapped onto it and loved it as soon as it released. And I remember not being able to get a ticket for it for the first 5 days, and I went and watched it alone, and it was such a phenomenal movie watching experience in my hometown Pune, and I have really fond memories of this. This was the first time that we had the third iteration on the Cellulite of Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's scene between Tony Stark and Peter Parker is one of my favorite moments in the MCU. What an incredible scene that was, and there are so many moments that I love. But before we begin, let's just have a brief touch about what is the plot of this very movie. Okay, so the plot of this movie goes as, with many people fearing the actions of superheroes, the government decides to push for the Hero Registration Act, a law that limits a hero's actions. This results in division in the Avengers. Iron Man stands with the act, claiming that their actions must be kept in check, otherwise cities will continue to be destroyed. But Captain America feels that saving the world is daring enough and that they cannot rely on the government to protect the world. This escalates into an all-out war between Team Iron Man, which includes the likes of Iron Man, Black Panther, Vision, Black Widow, War Machine, and Spider-Man, and Team Captain America, which includes the likes of Captain America, of course, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and Ant-Man, while a new villain of Zemo, Baron Zemo, emerges. Okay, so this just made me realize that it's been over 16 years that the MCU started with Iron Man, the first Iron Man, and it's been 10 years since Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and it's been 8 years since this very movie that we're talking about, which is Captain America Civil War. I really feel old because it feels like not yesterday but day before yesterday that I watched this movie for the first time and had such a phenomenal time. My love and appreciation for this movie is coming from a really genuine place because I feel it's one of the standout movies. What they managed to do with this movie is such a big cast, such a big casting crew, and gave equal justice to Captain America's trilogy, which is one of the finest trilogies that's there in the MCU, and ensured that everyone gets equal weightage, there's equal reasoning, which also goes to the conclusion of the final fight between Captain America and Iron Man. I really love this movie. The fun fact for you here is that Oscar winner for his incredible role in Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr.'s go-ahead was really necessary for this movie to happen, otherwise this wouldn't have happened. There would have been a Captain America 3 called Captain America Serpent Society, which was announced. But this was also a surprise announcement that Kevin Feige made, and you had the likes of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans walking and announcing this movie, and there was a lot of speculation about who's going to be playing Black Panther, and you had Chadwick Boseman walking in and saying that I'm a person of my own.
We love this film so much.
It's great, but I'm dead. So I don't have.
So let's talk about what I love about this movie in my favorite part of the show, which is called My Favorite. So there are ample of things that I really love about this movie. Let's begin with the characters. Of course, the character of Steve Rogers, played brilliantly by Chris Evans. This was his second portrayal as a Marvel character. He played Human Torch. And fun fact, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not to be mistaken, Robert Downey Jr., aka Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, had a big role for Chris Evans playing the role of Captain America, and I think he's done a phenomenal job. He really owns this role, and I really miss him since Endgame, and so I even miss Iron Man. I miss Robert Downey Jr. in the MCU as well. So what I love about this movie, the characters, of course, you have Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier. You have a great villain role that has been played by Daniel Bruhl, who's playing Baron Zemo, and he's of course there in The Falcon and Winter Soldier as well on Disney Plus, Hotstar in India. And I really love the casting of Tom Holland. It was a really important casting because you had Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield playing Spider-Man, and both the portrayals were loved. But to introduce him before his first movie, which was Spider-Man Homecoming, a year prior, they did a great job. They had the late and great Chadwick Boseman playing, of course, our favorite Black Panther as well. So a lot of great castings, and of course our usual Scarlett Johansson and all the other incredible actors like Paul Rudd, and not to be mistaken, I think the whole cast is phenomenal, so I'm not even going to get started on that. But my favorite scenes, let's get to that, come on. So my favorite scene, particularly a scene that I really love, and it goes to prove why Robert Downey Jr. won his Oscar. It is a scene where he's recreating a younger version of himself on a stage, and he's talking to college students, and before he approves all of their college fee and college tuition, he is having a moment that he recreated with the technology of a younger version of him talking to his parents, and they've de-aged Tony Stark in that particular thing. And I think it's such a brilliant scene. What a brilliant scene on paper, and so flawlessly executed with the help of the incredible direction, how well it's written, and the use of VFX. I think it really is a great synergy and a marriage between everything that filmmaking technology can provide now. And I really love that scene. I see it every 6 months because I feel it's such a brilliant performance, and it really is a great backstory to what Tony Stark's character is carrying with him. So I think it's a brilliant scene. My second favorite scene is, of course, there are a lot of heartwarming scenes in this movie. My second favorite scene is, of course, I mentioned earlier, the introductory scene of Tom Holland's portrayal of Peter Parker, where Robert Downey Jr. is with Marissa Tomei's character, Aunt May, and he's sitting in the house and he has this conversation with Peter Parker about him knowing that he's Spider-Man and including him in his team. I think that's such a brilliant scene. And my third favorite scene is Tony Stark fighting with Bucky Barnes with his blazer in his suit and taking out those hand shoot things, I don't know, that Iron Man has, and a hand-to-hand combat scene. I think it's so brilliantly executed, and Tony Stark's swagger, Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Tony Stark really shines out. And I think there are such brilliantly choreographed fight scenes. And my fourth favorite scene is, of course, the airport fight scene when we see Spider-Man in the costume for the first time. That was hidden in the trailer, but then there was another trailer that came out that revealed Tom Holland's portrayal of Spider-Man. And my fifth favorite scene is, of course, the last fight that takes place between Captain America and Iron Man. Of course, you have the Winter Soldier also helping Captain America out, but it is such a brilliant face-off scene and really lives up to the theme that they've been building all of this movie all along. So these are my 5 favorite scenes for you to watch. So that was it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big love to all of y'all, and big shout out to Theo, our man, who's right behind the camera, the producer of the show who shoots and edits this. Thank you so much. We'd love to know what do you think about Captain America Civil War, and you can write down in the comment section about what are your favorite moments, favorite characters. If there's any other NCU movie or superhero movie that you'd like for us to cover, please do let us know, and we're going to be bringing this to you every week on our YouTube channel, Radio One International. There are some incredible properties and incredible shows that we have, segments that we have for you on our channel. So please subscribe and check out all the wonderful creators who are doing so much of hard work. And big shout out to the Radio One team, the editors, the people who are conceptualizing, who are making everything happen. And we promise you to bring you some incredible content. And that's it from me, your host Bhaarat, for this episode of Binge Watch. Hope to see you soon, and thank you so much. See.
94.3 Radio 1.